We're counting down. 25 forgotten lunch counter sandwiches every American ordered before fast food took over. These were the meals that fed a nation from behind chrome-trimmed counters, in five and dimes, drugstore soda fountains, and department store lunchrooms, where a nickel, a dime, and a spinning stool bought you comfort on a plate. From humble spreads that stretched a paycheck to open-faced platters drowned in gravy, each sandwich tells a story of thrift, ritual, and a slower America that vanished the day the golden arches went up. Expect fillings your grandkids wouldn't recognize, flavors born behind steamy griddles, and the quiet ache of convenience. Which forgotten favorite tops our list? Let's begin the countdown with number 25. Number 25. The olive nut sandwich was the quiet star of the tea room and the department store lunch counter, a favorite of women who came downtown to shop and lingered over a cool spread on soft white bread. Counter girls whipped cream cheese with a splash of the briny liquid straight from the olive jar, folded in chopped green olives and crumbled walnuts, then bound the whole thing with a spoonful of mayonnaise until it turned the faintest shade of pink. In the 1940s, a plate ran about a quarter, cheap enough for a lady on a budget, elegant enough to feel like an occasion. The crunch of the nuts against the salty bite of the olive made it unmistakable. Shoppers ate it with white-gloved hands beside a glass of iced tea, then folded their napkins and drifted back to the notions counter. Today, the olive nut sandwich survives only in a handful of southern kitchens, a delicate ghost of a slower afternoon. Number 24. The peanut butter and bacon sandwich was the working man's answer to a full stomach on a thin wallet. Behind the griddle, the counterman laid strips of bacon on the hot iron until they curled and hissed, then pressed them into a thick smear of peanut butter on toasted white bread. The heat softening the peanut butter into something warm and molten. For 15 or 20 cents in the 1950s, a fellow got protein, salt, and grease enough to carry him through an afternoon shift. The combination sounds strange to modern ears, but the salt of the bacon against the sweet richness of the peanut butter was a revelation. Truckers ordered it at roadside counters. Farmhands ate it standing up. It filled the gap when a man could not afford steak, but needed to eat like he had. Fast food had no place for it, and so it slipped away. Number 23. Chipped beef on toast was the sandwich soldiers came home craving, and cheap counters were glad to serve. Cooks tore paper-thin slices of salty dried beef into a bubbling white sauce, thickened with flour and butter, then ladled the whole creamy tangle over triangles of buttered toast. The GIs had a blunter name for it, but at the drugstore counter it was written up politely as creamed chipped beef. A plate cost pennies, since a small jar of dried beef stretched to feed a family. The salt did the work of seasoning, and the sauce did the work of filling bellies. Men who had eaten it in mess halls ordered it out of stubborn affection. Mothers made it to stretch payday, and children learned to love the gluey comfort of it. When convenience food arrived, chipped beef on toast quietly retired, a relic of ration book thrift few counters bothered to remember. Number 22. The deviled ham sandwich was speed in a can, the counterman's shortcut when the lunch rush stacked 3 deep at the register. He'd crank open a little tin of spiced minced ham, spread the peppery paste across white bread, add a slick of mustard, and maybe a slice of pickle, and slide it across the formica before the customer had finished counting out his dimes. In the 1940s and 50s, that devilishly seasoned ham was a pantry hero, ready the moment the lid came off. The flavor was sharp, salty, and unapologetic, clinging to the roof of your mouth. Office clerks grabbed one between errands. Kids ate it wrapped in wax paper on the school steps. It asked nothing of the cook but a can opener and a knife. As delis and drive-thrus multiplied, the humble deviled ham spread faded into the back of the cupboard. Number 21. The pimento cheese sandwich ruled the southern lunch counter with a bright orange glow and a loyal following. Cooks grated sharp cheddar by hand, folded in chopped red pimentos and a generous scoop of mayonnaise. Then beat it smooth with a wooden spoon until it spread like velvet across soft white bread. Southerners called it the caviar of the South, though it cost only a dime and lived in every icebox in the region. The tang of the cheese against the sweet pepper made it instantly recognizable, and no two counters mixed it quite the same. Mill workers ate it at shift change. Church ladies packed it for socials. Children begged for the crusts. It traveled well, held up in the heat, and never disappointed. Grocery tubs eventually replaced the hand-mixed batches, and the freshly ground counter version, thick with real cheddar, grew scarce as the years wore on. Number 20, the ham salad sandwich was thrift turned into an art, the answer to the question of what to do with Sunday's leftover ham. Countermen ran the scraps through a hand grinder, mixed the pink mince with sweet pickle relish, a spoon of mustard, and enough mayonnaise to bind it, then piled it soft and cool onto white bread. A plate cost next to nothing, since it was built entirely from what would otherwise be thrown out. The relish gave it a sweet snap against the smoky ham, and the texture was smooth enough to spread to the very edges. Diners' regulars ordered it without a glance at the menu. Mothers made it to stretch a holiday ham into a week of school lunches. It was the taste of nothing wasted. When packaged cold cuts made whole slices cheap, the ground-up salad lost its purpose and slowly disappeared. Number 19, the Denver sandwich, sometimes called the Western, was the diner's folded miracle of eggs and scraps. On a hot griddle, the cook beat eggs with diced ham, onion, and green pepper, let the whole thing set into a flat golden omelet, then folded it and slid it between two slices of toasted bread. Railroad legend claimed it was born in a cook car crossing the plains, a way to mask eggs that had ridden the rails too long. By the 1950s, it was a counter fixture from coast to coast, hearty enough for breakfast, filling enough for lunch, and cheap enough for anyone. The pepper and onions sang against the salty ham, and the eggs held it all together. Cowboys, clerks, and travelers ordered it at all hours. As short-order griddles gave way to warming trays and wrappers, the Denver quietly rode off into memory. Number 18. The fried bologna sandwich was the poor man's steak, and it wore that title with pride. The counterman laid a thick round of bologna on the griddle, cut a notch in the rim so it wouldn't dome, and fried it until the edges curled up into a crisp little cup with a browned, blistered face. He'd slap it on white bread with a swipe of mustard, and for a dime, a man ate like a king on a laborer's budget. The frying transformed cheap lunch meat into something caramelized and savory, the crisp edges giving way to a hot, juicy center. Factory workers swore by it. Kids counted it a treat. Grandfathers insisted the notch was the secret. It was the sandwich of making do, delicious precisely because it asked so little. Delis and drive-thrus pushed it aside, and the sizzle of frying bologna grew rare. Number 17, liverwurst. On rye carried the flavor of the old delicatessen counter into the everyday lunch. The countermen sliced soft, spreadable Braunschweiger onto dark rye, laid on rings of raw onion, and finished it with a stripe of sharp yellow mustard, sometimes a leaf of lettuce for crunch. Rich, earthy, and unmistakably strong, it was a sandwich that announced itself. In the 1940s and 50s, a nickel or two bought a slab of liverwurst that fed the whole family for days. The onion cut the richness, the mustard sharpened it, and the rye anchored the whole affair. Immigrant families kept it on the table, and their children carried the taste to counters across America. It was cheap, filling, and packed with iron in an age when mothers worried about such things. As tastes turned bland and pre-packaged, liverwurst slid off the menu, remembered mostly by those who grew up on it. Number 16. The banana and mayonnaise sandwich may be the most startling entry on this list, yet it fed the South through the leanest years. Cooks slathered white bread with mayonnaise, laid down slices of ripe banana, pressed the halves together, and cut it corner to corner. Born in the Depression when a banana was cheap and mayonnaise was a luxury made to stretch, It lingered long after on rural lunch counters and church picnic tables. The cool tang of the mayonnaise against the soft sweetness of the banana divided families as sharply as any dish, loved by some, refused outright by others. Children took to it easily. Grandmothers swore by it. It cost a few cents and filled an empty afternoon. To modernize it seems impossible, but for a generation it was ordinary comfort, and its near disappearance marks just how far American tastes have traveled. Number 15. The salmon salad sandwich was the Friday standby in a country that still kept Lent, and canned salmon made it possible in every corner of the land. The counterman flaked pink salmon straight from the tin, mixed it with diced celery, a squeeze of lemon, and mayonnaise, then mounded it cool onto white bread. Far from the coasts, that humble can brought the ocean to the prairie for a dime. The celery gave it crunch, the lemon brightened it, and the salmon carried a richness that felt almost luxurious for the price. Catholic families ordered it without fail on meatless Fridays, and everyone else ordered it because it was good. It was clean, filling, and dependable, the kind of lunch a working woman could eat at the counter and be back at her desk by 1. As frozen fillets and drive-through fish took over, the counter salmon salad faded from view. Number 14. Cheese Dreams turned a plain cheese sandwich into a griddled indulgence, and they were the darling of the ladies' luncheon and the church basement supper. The cook buttered bread on the outside, layered sharp cheese within, sometimes tucked a strip of bacon inside, then fried it slow until the outside went golden and the cheese ran molten. Served hot and cut into neat triangles, a cheese dream cost a dime and felt like a small celebration. The crisp, buttery crust cracked to reveal a stretch of melted cheese, and the bacon, when it appeared, lifted the whole thing higher. Hostesses served them at bridge parties. Counters offered them as a warm afternoon treat. They were the direct ancestor of the grilled cheese, but richer, dressier, and served with a certain ceremony. As the plainer grilled cheese took over, the cheese dream and its little flourishes quietly vanished. Number 13. Chicken. A la king on toast was the counter's touch of elegance, the special that made a shopgirl feel like she was dining somewhere finer than a 5 and dime. Cooks simmered diced chicken in a rich cream sauce studded with mushrooms, green pepper, and bright ribbons of pimento, then spooned the whole velvety mixture over crustless toast points. In the 1940s, a plate cost a bit more than a plain sandwich, and that was the point. It was a small luxury within reach. The sauce was silky, the pimento added color and sweetness, and the toast soaked up every drop. Ladies ordered it at department store lunchrooms after a morning of shopping. It carried the faint glamour of hotel dining brought down to counter prices. When frozen dinners and drive-thrus offered speed over ceremony, this creamy, old-fashioned special lost its audience and disappeared from the menu boards. Number 12. The EGG salad sandwich was the icebox workhorse, dependable, cheap, and present at nearly every lunch counter in the country. The counterman chopped hard-boiled eggs, folded them with mayonnaise, a pinch of salt, and sometimes a whisper of mustard or celery, then spread the pale mixture across soft white bread. Eggs were among the cheapest proteins a family could buy, which made this sandwich a nickel-and-dime staple through good times and hard ones. Cool, creamy, and mild, it pleased nearly everyone, and it held up in a lunch pail through a long morning. Secretaries ate it at their desks. Children found it waiting in their lunchboxes. It asked nothing but a pot of boiling water and a steady hand. Though egg salad still turns up here and there, the freshly mixed counter version, mounded, generous, and eaten on a spinning stool, belongs to a vanished world. Number 11. The cream cheese and olive sandwich was another jewel of the tea room and the ladies' lunch counter, prized for its cool elegance and its pretty green flecks. The counter girl whipped cream cheese until soft, folded in sliced pimento-stuffed olives, and spread the mixture thick on white or delicate nut bread, then trimmed away the crusts for daintiness. A plate cost a quarter and looked like something from a finer establishment. The tang of the olives cut through the richness of the cheese, and the soft bread let the filling shine. Women lingered over it with tea and gossip. It appeared at bridal showers and afternoon socials, cut into tidy fingers. It was food meant to be admired as much as eaten, a small performance of gentility. As tea rooms closed and lunch counters modernized, this refined little sandwich slipped quietly out of fashion. Number 10. Welsh rarebit brought the hush of the hotel dining room to the everyday counter, and the great automats served it by the thousands. Cooks melted sharp cheese into a warm sauce sharpened with mustard and a splash of beer or ale, then poured the whole bubbling cascade over crisp toast. It was cheese elevated to a hot, saucy meal, and for a modest price it felt indulgent beyond its cost. At Horn and Hard Arts automats, a diner dropped his coins in the slot, opened the little glass door, and carried the steaming dish to a marble table. The sauce was sharp, tangy, and rich enough to satisfy, the toast growing soft beneath it. Businessmen ate it at noon. Families made an occasion of it. As the automats shuttered and simpler fare took over, Welsh rarebit slipped from an everyday order to a forgotten curiosity. Number 9. The tongue sandwich was the pride of the delicatessen counter, a dish that tested nerve but rewarded the brave with unmatched flavor. The counterman simmered beef tongue for hours, peeled away the tough outer skin, then sliced the tender pink meat thin and stacked it on rye with a stripe of mustard. Rich, beefy, and buttery, it was unlike anything else in the case, and in the 1940s and 50s, it cost far less than roast beef. The mustard sharpened it, the rye anchored it, and regulars ordered it with a confidence of long habit. Immigrant delis kept it front and center, and their customers ate it with relish. Children eyed it warily while their fathers savored every bite. As American palates grew squeamish about such cuts and independent delis closed their doors, the tongue sandwich retreated into memory, a bold flavor few counters dared to keep. Number 8. The chicken croquette sandwich turned yesterday's chicken into a crisp, golden treat, and diners across the country built weeknight specials around it. Cooks bound minced chicken with a thick cream sauce, shaped it into little cones or patties, breaded them, and fried them until the crust shattered, and the inside stayed soft and steaming. Tucked into a bun or laid between slices of bread with a spoon of gravy, a croquette sandwich stretched a small amount of meat into a satisfying meal. The contrast of crunchy shell against creamy filling made it feel far grander than its pennies per plate price. Home cooks made them, and lunch counters sold them by the dozen at the noon rush. They were thrift dressed up as indulgence. When fast food offered fried chicken with none of the labor, the humble croquette sandwich lost its place and slowly disappeared from the counter. Number 7. The tuna melt was the counter's warm embrace, a griddled comfort that married cool tuna salad to a blanket of melted cheese. The counterman spread tuna mixed with mayonnaise and diced celery onto bread, laid a slice of American cheese on top, and pressed the whole thing on the hot iron until the bread crisped and the cheese oozed down the sides. It cost a little more than a plain tuna sandwich, and it was worth every extra cent. The crunch of the toasted bread gave way to warm, savory tuna and stretchy cheese, a study in comfort. Waitresses recommended it to weary customers. Kids ordered it after school. It was the perfect antidote to a cold afternoon. Though the tuna melt still lingers at a few diners, the classic griddle version, made to order on a well-seasoned iron, has grown scarce as the counters that birthed it vanished. Number 6. The Sloppy Joe, or loose meat tavern sandwich, was messy, generous, and beloved from the Midwest outward. Countermen simmered ground beef with onion and a sweet, tangy sauce until it was loose and rich, then piled it onto a soft bun that never quite contained it. In Iowa, the loose meat version skipped the sauce, seasoning the crumbled beef simply and serving it with mustard and pickle, a style that built whole roadside institutions. For a quarter, a hungry customer got a fistful of hot, savory beef and a stack of napkins. The sauce dripped, the bun softened, and nobody minded. Children loved the mess of it. Working families loved the price. It was food that filled you up and made you smile. as chain burgers standardized the American lunch. The humble, saucy Joe held on in pockets but faded from the national counter. Number 5. Beef on weck was Buffalo's gift to the lunch counter, a sandwich so tied to its city that it never quite traveled. The counterman piled rare roast beef, carved, thin, and dripping, onto a kummelweck roll crusted with caraway seeds and coarse salt, then dunked the top of the bun in the beef's own juices until it glistened. A dab of horseradish set the whole thing ablaze. In the taverns and counters of Western New York, it was the sandwich you ordered without thinking, cheap, hearty, and unforgettable. The salt and caraway of the roll played against the rich, juicy beef, and the horseradish brought tears to your eyes in the best way. Steelworkers ate it after a shift. Regulars swore no two counters made it the same, because it depended on a fresh, local roll and a hand-carved roast. It stayed a regional treasure, unknown to the fast food nation and forgotten nearly everywhere else. Number 4. The Reuben was the delicatessen's masterpiece, a towering griddled sandwich that demanded a knife, a fork, and a hearty appetite. The counterman layered corned beef, tangy sauerkraut, and Swiss cheese between slices of rye, spread on Russian dressing, and grilled the whole stack in butter until the cheese melted and the bread turned golden and crisp. Rich, salty, and gloriously indulgent, it cost more than most sandwiches on the board and was worth every penny. The warmth of the corned beef against the sharp kraut and the creamy dressing made it a full meal in every bite. Delis guarded their versions jealously, and customers argued over which counter made it best. Businessmen ordered it as a splurge. Families made an occasion of it. Though the Reuben still appears on menus, the freshly griddled deli counter original, thick with hand-sliced corned beef, grows harder to find with every passing year. Number 3. The club sandwich stood tall as the counter's grandest everyday order, a triple-decker tower held together with frilled toothpicks and cut into 4 neat triangles. The counterman toasted 3 slices of bread, layered on sliced turkey or chicken, crisp bacon, lettuce, tomato, and a smear of mayonnaise, then speared each quarter with a pick and fanned them across the plate beside a heap of pickles. It cost a bit more than a plain sandwich, and it delivered tall, handsome, and impossible to finish without loosening your belt. Every layer offered something different: the salt of the bacon, the cool of the tomato, the richness of the meat. Travelers ordered it at hotel counters. Shoppers made a lunch of it downtown. It was the sandwich you got when you wanted to treat yourself. As fast food flattened lunch into something eaten in a car, the stately, tooth-picked club lost its ceremony and much of its place. Number 2, the hot turkey sandwich was pure comfort ladled onto a plate, an open-faced platter that felt like a holiday any day of the week. The counterman laid slices of bread on a plate, piled on warm roast turkey, then drowned the whole thing in a river of pale gravy, often with a scoop of mashed potatoes crowding the edge. You ate it with a knife and fork because no hand could lift it. For well under $1 in the 1950s, a diner got a Thanksgiving dinner on a weekday afternoon. The gravy soaked into the bread, the turkey fell apart tender, and the potatoes tied it all together in savory warmth. Truckers ordered it. Families ordered it. Lonely souls ordered it for the comfort as much as the meal. As drive-thrus taught America to eat with one hand on the wheel, the fork and knife hot turkey plate slipped into nostalgia. Number 1, the hot roast beef sandwich crowned the lunch counter as the king of comfort, the blue plate special that defined an era of American eating. The counterman laid slices of soft white bread on a plate, mounded on thin-carved roast beef, added a scoop of mashed potatoes, then flooded the whole platter with dark, glossy gravy until bread, meat, and potatoes disappeared beneath it. Eaten with a fork and a knife, it was the meal a working man dreamed of at 11 in the morning, and for pocket change it delivered every time. The gravy softened the bread into something between a sandwich and a stew. The beef melted on the tongue, and the potatoes carried it home. Diners, drugstore counters, and roadside cafes built their reputations on it. It was the taste of a country that still sat down to eat. When fast food promised the same beef in a wrapper, handed through a window in 30 seconds, the open-faced roast beef platter and the slow, seated ritual around it quietly vanished. It was never just a sandwich. It was the last supper of the lunch counter age. And when the counters fell silent, it went with them. These 25 sandwiches were more than lunch. They were the taste of a slower America, built on thrift, ceremony, and a spinning stool at a chrome counter. Which one would you order first? Drop it in the comments, and if this brought back a memory, you know what to do.